Okay. So other than reading and writing the data, we have file directory operations. Okay, file or directory operations. Okay, these file or directory operations are operations other than reading or writing data to files. Okay, for example, checking if a file exists in a directory, creating a new directory, creating a new file. All this comes under file or directory operations. Again, these file or directory operations, we have methods that query the file system and methods that modify the file system. For example, under methods that query the file system, we have these are the methods. These are some of the examples of the methods that query the file system. That means we can check if we can read a file, if we can write to a file, if a file exists or not, if it is a directory, if it is a file, and all these things. Okay. Similarly, for modifying the file system, we have creating a new file, creating a directory. Okay, make directory, mkdir. Okay, we can rename a file or we can rename a directory. We can delete a file. Okay, so all these things, these are all the methods that modify the file system. Okay, so now let us see an example for this one. Okay, so this one, let me create something. Okay, in this one, okay, let me for create a new package here. So new package. Okay, I'm just saying that this is operations file operations. Okay, now let me close like all of these things. Close out. Okay, I'm creating a new class here and the class name is file operations 1. Okay, so I'm using the main method also. Okay, so now the class is created. Now let's get into this. Okay, so the first thing is let us create a local folder, and also in the D drive I'm creating something called new folder, and I'm saying like Selenium training. Okay, under Selenium training I'm creating some other folder. Okay, Java, some folder under Selenium training I have created a new folder. Okay, under this one I'm creating a new text file, a text document. This is sample.txt. Okay, sample.txt. So we have a folder Java, and under that we have a sample.txt file. Okay, now let us see the example first here. So what we are doing is, for working with the file or directory operations, we use a class called file. Okay, so for with this file, okay, so we first mention the path of that one. We'll create an object for this file class. Okay, so here if you see file some temporary directory is equal to new file of, we have to provide the path either for the directory, that means folder, or for the file. So I have created like two objects here, and then I'm checking like all these file or directory operations, like whatever the operations that I have mentioned here. So we can check all of this. Okay, now let us see this one. Okay, so I'm creating an object file temporary directory is equal to new file of, I need to give the path for that directory. Okay, so the path is, yeah, this one. Okay, this is the path for this directory. Okay, D Selenium Java. Okay, so now, okay, just let me import this file first. Okay, import file java.io. Okay, this is under the package java.io. So I have imported this one. Okay, remember one thing here. Here it is, if you see here we have a single backslash. Okay, if I copy this one, this is a single backslash. Let me copy this one. Okay, let me. Okay, this actual path is a single backslash. But when you are working with this file operations in Java, you need to give a double backslash in Java. Okay, if you are using backslash, you need to give a double backslash in Java. So when you paste it, it will automatically convert this one to a double backslash. Okay, but if you are manually entering the path, you make sure that you need to give double backslash, because backslash is called an escape character. Okay, something like if you in any programming language, generally if you say backslash t, that means that is a tab character. Similarly, backslash n, that means that is a new line character. Okay, new line character. Okay, so if you use a single backslash, it Java will think that it is an escape character. If you use, like, only backslash like this, backslash s, it thinks that backslash s is an escape character. Okay, that is why you always need to give another backslash. Okay, which will tell the system that, okay, this is not a backslash character, but it is a path. Okay, so when you are using a backslash, make sure that you are using two backslashes. Okay, okay, now we have created the file object for this folder, Java folder. Now, sorry, let me create a file object for the file. Okay, file, temporary file is equal to, okay, new file of new file of, okay, I can provide the full path for the file. So I'm taking this one, okay, backslash and sample dot txt. Okay, I can provide this one. Okay, this is the direct folder path, and this is the text path. But instead of providing this one, since we already have this temporary directory, okay, temporary directory, we can directly provide it like this also. Okay, you can use okay, you can use this temporary directory plus two backslashes, because we already have this path in this one. Okay, we can do this also, or you can provide a direct path of that one. Okay, let me do that one. Okay, instead of doing it like this, what we can do is I can provide this temporary directory plus this one. Okay, we can do this also. Now we have created file objects for this temporary directory and temporary file. Okay, now let us see like the different operations that we have on this folder. Okay, folder or file. Now I'm using this temporary directory object dot. If you print, like, it will show you, like, all these ones. But since this is a directory, this on this one, let us see, like, what are the operations that we can use on the directory. Okay, so this is all, like, the different operations that we can do on this one. Okay, so generally, like, let me go into the document and we'll go through this different operations. Okay, so we have all these operations. So let us see this one. Since that is a directory, we want to check if that is a directory or not. Okay, so we can use this one. Before that, we have another one, like, exists. Okay, if the directory exists or not. Okay, let us see this one. Okay, so I'll say dot exists. Okay, this returns a boolean value, true or false. So I will use system dot out dot println. Okay, if this folder exists or not. Let's run this one. Run as Java application. Okay, true, because we already created this one. For example, if I use, like, something like ABCD, if this exists or not. Okay, false, because we don't have this folder under Java. Okay, so this is about exists. Similarly, let's see if it is a directory, is directory. Okay, so let us see this one. Okay, dot is directory. Okay, if it is a folder or not. Okay, that's what we are checking. So let me execute this one. So exception thread main unresolved compilation string literal is not properly. Oh, okay. So something okay. This one is not properly closed. That's what it says. Okay, let me remove this one. Okay. Now we don't have any errors. Okay, let me run this one again. True. Okay. Is it a directory? Yes, this is a directory. Let's check this one. Okay, this is not a directory. This is a file. So if I check like this one temporary file dot is directory, it should return false. Okay. So if I see this one, so false because this is a file. This is not a folder. That's why it is returning false. Now let's check if it is a file. Okay, is file. Okay, so I'm taking this temporary directory. Okay, dot is file. Okay, if I check this one, then it will show false because this is a folder. This is not a file. That is why it is showing false. Now if I take this one, okay, now it should return true. Sorry, temporary file dot is file. Why it is showing as false? Something went wrong. It is still showing as false. Okay, it should not return false, but sample.txt. This one is false. Something went wrong. So let me dot is file. Okay. Test whether the file denoted by this abstract path is a normal file. A file is normal if it is not a directory. In addition, satisfies other system dependence criteria. Any non-directory file created by Java application is guaranteed to be a normal file when where it required to distinguish IO exception from okay. True only if we find security exception. If a security okay, let me do this one is file. Let me run this one. Not sure like why it is returning as false, but let me give like the full path. Okay. Let me run this one temp file dot till it is written as false. Not sure why it is written, but it should return true. I'll check this one. Okay, why it is returning as false. Let me okay. I'll check this one. It should return true like for files, but not sure why it is returning as false. Sample.txt. That's what we have it right in the directory. Let me just go into.
The file names may be case sensitive by any chance or not really?
Yeah, this file name is tmp file. So the file name is same here and here. Uh,
Sample.txt is that supposed to be there? Okay.
yeah, sample.txt. This is also same.
Yeah.
Sample.txt is also same. Let me run this one. Still, it is returning as false. Okay, I'll check this one. Okay, but it should return as true because this is temp file dot is file. Test whether okay. let's go and like check it in Google and see like what it is saying. Generally like okay is in Java returning false. Is file method in Java with examples. The function determines whether the file is Java is file return false even when the file exists. Okay, so just remember this one like stackoverflow.com. This is one of the forums where you'll get like if you don't like find if you don't know anything or like if you don't find anything, this is one of the best forums where like a lot of people will reply you. Okay, if and only if the file denoted by this abstract path name exists in a false otherwise, so that normal file any other non-directory file creator will guarantee to be a normal file or satisfies. No specific answer is there for this one. Both the file. Okay, I'll see that one. Okay, I'm not sure like why it is returning false, but it should return true because that file already the colon selenium see like is directory is working fine, but except that it is file is not working properly. Is directory. Okay, let me run this one. Yeah, is directory is working fine, but is file is not working. Yeah, I'll check this one. Okay, so this is one method. Okay, is file is hidden. Okay, some files like will be hidden, right? So let us see if this is hidden. Okay, is hidden. Okay, it should return false because the file is not hidden, so it is returning false. Okay, and get absolute path. Okay, we can get the absolute path of this one. So you'll say dot get absolute path. Okay, it will print the actual path of the file. So you can see d colon selenium training java sample.txt. This is the absolute path of this one. And last modified. Let us see like what it prints for the last modified date. Dot last modified. Okay, so it's not returning anything. Okay, and that means like we have just created that one. Okay, we haven't like modified that file. That's why it is returning 0. So try like all these things. Okay, so these are the different things that we have. We don't use like any of these generally, but just you have to be aware that okay, these are the different file operations that we have. Okay, now let's work on these methods that will modify the file system. Okay, we can create a new file, we can create a new directory, and we can delete like an existing file and all these things. Okay, for that one, yeah, we have this one. So what we have to do is we have to uh, sample one.txt. Okay, so I'm specifying a file path here. Of course, this one it is not there. This file is not there on the system. So we are using file dot create new file. So it will create a new file with this name. Okay. Similarly, it will create a new directory with this name test. Okay, let's look into these two things. Okay, now I have this temporary directory, right? Now I'm creating a new file object. I already have this temporary directory, so I will create new temporary directory 1. Temporary directory 1 is equal to okay, this temporary directory. Okay, so I'll do this one. Okay, new file of tmp directory, okay, plus some folder, test folder I am creating. Okay, so this directory is not there in this one. So we have only this one, Selenium, training, and Java. So under this Java directory, Java folder, I'm trying to create a new test directory. So I have created a new file path for that one. Okay, new file object for that one. Now I can use temporary directory one dot make directory. I can use. If I use this statement, it will create this one. I can use if conditions. Okay. If this is successful, that means if the directory is created successfully, then I can say system.out.println, okay, folder test created successfully. Okay. I can use tmp, sorry, mkdir. This is make directory. Okay. Now let me run this one. Run as Java application. Okay, folder created successfully. Now let me go into this one. Okay, see the test folder is created. Okay, similarly, if I want to create another folder, I can create it like this, test one. Okay, and let me run this one, run as, okay, folder test created successfully, so test one. Okay, now I don't have like any files under this test folder, so let me create a file under this one. Okay, so now I'm creating file. Let me create it. Okay, file tmp file1 equals to new file of, okay, temp, not temp file, temp dir1 plus, that means under the test folder I'm creating this one. Okay, sample.txt. I want to create a sample.txt file under this test folder. Okay, so now I can use temp file1 dot create new file method. Okay, it will create this new file, and I can use if condition. It will return true or false based on whether the file is created successfully. Okay, something went wrong. Uh, okay, throws declaration. We'll do this one. Okay, see, it is saying that, okay, it will create. It may throw an exception because, okay, this, if this path is not there, then it may throw an exception. That's what it is saying. But again, we have to, in this one temporary, we have to give back two backslashes. Okay, okay, so we have to catch that exception. We can simply use add throws declaration. If we click this one, it will throws IO exception. Okay, okay, now system.out.println, okay, file created successfully. Okay, now let me comment this one. Okay, we are not creating the folder again because we have already created this folder. Let me run this one, run as Java application, and file created successfully. Let us go into this one. See, sample file is created successfully. Okay, if I want to create another, let's say sample1.txt. Okay, and if I run this one, run as Java application, and sample1 is created successfully. Okay, so this way you can create, you can modify the file system. Okay, so you can try other methods also if there are any other methods, but this one's generally we don't use this one so far, uh, I mean, in the actual automation testing that we have done, we haven't used this one. In my personal things, when I did in any automation for the personal things, then I have used this file or directory operations. But in the actual, in any company, we haven't used any creating any files or anything like this, because generally when you run the automation scripts, sorry, you won't run them in your from your local system. Well, you'll put it somewhere in the Git, okay, GitHub, okay, and you run it from there. Okay, so generally, we don't use we don't create or anything like we don't create any files or anything like that. Okay, but you still have to remember these ones. You still have to aware that like okay, these file operations are there. Okay. Okay. Now let us see like in an example for file writing and file reading. Okay, these are the actual input output operations. Okay, the previous ones are other than input output operations, but these ones are file writing and reading. Let us see this one. Okay, so file writer and file reader, they are under character class. Okay, because we this end with writer and reader. Okay, there are like other methods where we can use like input or output streams under byte streams, but this is an example using file writer and reader. Okay, so suppose I want to like write something, okay, into the text file that we have created. Okay, so we can write it like we have to create an object for this file writer by passing the path of that file. Once we pass this one, then I am creating like a string, and then I'm directly writing this one, and I'm closing the file writer object here. I'm closing this file writer object, and I'm printing this one. Okay, so let us see this one. So we have created something into this one, sample .txt in this one. Okay, so let me copy this one first. Let me create a new class here. Okay, I'm creating a new class here. So this is file writer example. Okay, public static void main. Okay, so I'm creating a new class here. Okay, so file writer uh, file writer is equal to new file writer of this one. Okay, let me import this file writer first. So import file writer. Okay, and new file writer, add throws declaration. Okay, I'm using this throws declaration here. Okay, okay, now I'm good with this one. Test, okay, test.txt. This is what I have to do. Okay. Okay. I think the previous problem was okay, got it. Yeah. So this one, I'm using an extension here, sample.txt. Okay. That's the problem here. Okay. If you actually see the actual file name here is sample.txt.txt. Okay, I have to use this one. Let me show you that problem. I understand like why it is giving an error here. So I should not like sample.txt. The actual file name is sample.txt.txt. Okay. I think like I can view extensions also here. Okay. Just select this one, file name extensions. Okay. See, the actual file name is sample.txt.txt. That is why earlier this is file is there, right? That was throwing an error because I have used sample.txt here, but here it is sample.txt.txt. Okay, the file extension was hidden here. So let me delete this sample.txt. Okay, now this is a sample, and if I see the file name extension, it is sample.txt. Okay, now if I use in this one is file, let me comment all these things. System.out.println tmp file dot is file. Now it will return true. Okay, let me run this one. Run as Java application. Okay, true. Do you understand this one? The mistake like that I did here.
Yes, Subbu.
Yes.
Okay, because we have created something with sample.txt here, and it was actually the file name is sample.txt.txt. It became, that's why it's always showing false. Okay. Okay, fine. Now let's go into here. Okay, so now I have created a new file. I have created the file writer object because I would like to write something into this test.txt. Now let me go into this test. Okay, so we have, okay, we don't have like a test.txt. So let us use like sample.txt. Okay, sample.txt. We would like to write something. So this is initially of 0 kilobytes and we don't have anything into this. Okay, anything into this. Okay, now let me use, let me create a string here. Okay, the string is string some str1 equals to something hello world. Okay, now I will use file writer dot, we have something called a write method in this one. Okay, see this write method, it accepts characters, int, string, and all these things, an array of characters, a string, and all these things. So what is this write method in this one? This is an overloaded method. Okay, we have seen overloading, right? What is overloading? Same name, same method with different parameters. Okay, so it is accepting different parameters here. So this is an overloaded method. Okay, let's take this string method and str1. Okay, I am writing this one to this. Okay, now I have opened a file writer object, so I have to close this one every time when you are working with files. Okay, you have to close the files, not only files but any connections, database connections or anything. You have to close those connections once your work is done. Okay, otherwise we will get like memory leak issues. Okay, now system.out.println. Okay, completed. Let us say completed. Okay, now let me run this one. Now this file, let me, doesn't have anything in this one. Let us see if we can write this data into this. Okay, run as Java application. Okay, so now completed. Okay, let us see if this is refresh. Okay, now let us see if it writes anything. Okay, no, it didn't write anything. So test Selenium Java. Oh, okay. So this is under Java folder directly, like, we have done it, not under test folder. Okay. So if you go into Java, so this is where it has written. Okay. The path is like, we have given Java, Selenium training Java sample.txt. Okay. Not under test folder. So if I open this one, you can see hello world here. Okay. If I want to write it into the test folder, okay, we have to give this path correctly. So let me update this path /test. Okay, so if we do it now if we run as Java application. So this is completed. So let's go into this one. So now if you see, the size is like 1 kilobyte, and if you open this one, this is hello world. Okay, so this is how we can write something. We can also have like file output stream here for under like byte streams. Okay, we can use file output stream, or like for characters we can use this file writer, all these things. Okay, so just practice this one. I don't see like people asking lot of questions on the file input or output streams also. Okay, I haven't seen like anyone asking me any questions on this file input or output streams so far. Okay. So you can remember like just this example. Okay, now we have seen how to write something into a file. Okay, now we'll see like how to read something. For that one we can use file reader. Okay, file reader. Okay, but the thing is that, okay, I'll show you this one. It returns the data in byte format. Okay, it returns the data in byte format. Okay, I'll show you this one. So the first thing is we have to use a file reader object here. Okay, and we have to create a file reader object by passing this one, by passing this by passing the file path. Okay, so this is the file we want to read. Okay, now we will declare an integer here, and we have something called read method for reading any file under file reader. Okay, we use that read method to read the values, but it returns in byte format. Okay, in byte format. So we are using I equals to fr read. So it reads this one. But again, when it reaches the end of the file, when it reaches the end of the file, it returns -1. So we are using a while loop here, and we are reading using this read method into the integer variable until that integer variable is not equals to -1. Okay, we are reading the characters until that. Since it returns a byte format, and since we need like characters here, so we are casting it to a character and we are printing that value. Okay, so and finally we are closing this one. Okay, let me show you this one. Let us say in this one, in the sample.txt, I am updating something. Hello world. Okay, welcome to Java Selenium training. Okay, this is what I have in my file. Okay, in the sample file. So let me create a new program here under file operations, new class. Okay, file reading. Okay, public static void main. Okay, so now I'll use file reader. Okay, let's say file reader is equal to new file reader of. Okay, I have to give the path for this one. Okay, this one backslash sample.txt. Okay, so now let me import this file reader, import file reader. Okay, and we have to handle the exception, add throws declaration. You can use try catch blocks also for this one. Okay, so file not found exception, it is throwing. Okay, now, sorry, now I have something called file read method, which will return in the byte format. So we have to capture that byte format. So I'm using int I. Okay, int I. Okay, now I'm using while loop file. Okay, I'm reading this file. I have to read this one. So file reader dot read. Okay, see, it is returning an integer here. Integer means byte format it will return. Okay, so we are capturing it into an integer. Read. Now I have to capture this one into the value, into this integer I have declared. Now when it reaches the end of the file, it will return -1. So what I will say, I will use, I will read this one into an integer. Okay, and I'll say until this is not equals to -1. Okay, do it until the value that is written by file reader dot read is not equals to -1. So it is again throwing another exception. So add IO exception. Okay, the previous one is updated. Okay, so basically what I'm doing, I'm using the read method on this one. So it will read the contents of this sample text, but how it will read, like it will return the byte format, which is nothing but an integer value. So I'm capturing this into the integer value, but when it reaches the end of the file, it returns -1. So I'm using a while loop here saying that until this is not equals to -1, read the file. Okay, when it reaches the end of the file, it becomes -1 and it comes out of this loop. Okay, so now I'll say system.out.println, and if I use I, it will print the byte codes for these characters. Okay, but we need to print each character. Okay, so I'm casting this one to char. Finally, once this is done, system.out.println, I'll say completed. Okay, sorry, let me run this one. Okay, so this is what it is printing. Okay, hello world, because we used the println method, so let me use the print method here, run as Java application. Okay, hello world, welcome to Selenium training, and it is saying completed here because we are using print method here. Okay. For example, before this print method, I would like to print this one in a new line, system.out.println. Okay. The escape character sequence, like that I have told you, right? So \n, print this one. Okay. It will print a new line here, and then in the next line, it will print like completed. Run as Java application. Okay. So completed. Okay. So any questions on this one? On reading a file?
No support.
Okay, fine. Okay, so that is about files basically. Okay, so just remember these examples. I have never seen anyone asking questions on this file operations, or how to read or write to a file. uh, Even in the interviews that I have taken also, I have never asked any questions on these file systems, because we generally don't use this file system in the Selenium. Okay, very rare actually. Okay, now let me go into the, yeah, operations interview questions. Even though I have created all these ones, okay, these are not really needed, but just go through these interview questions. These are the same things that we have discussed in the, what is the necessity of two types of streams, byte streams and character streams. Okay. What are all the supermost classes of all streams? Okay, byte streams can be divided into two categories: input streams, output streams. Character streams are divided into two categories. What is the difference between reader or writer class hierarchy and the input or output stream? Reader or writer are basically character stream classes. Input or output streams are basically um, byte oriented classes, byte streams. Okay, the value of read return, what value of read return when it reaches the end of the file? It returns -1. Okay. Yes, now we have seen. Okay, don't worry about all these things. Actually, these are not all needed, like string buffer, object input string. These are not needed actually. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is one important question. Okay. What is system.out.println? Okay, what is system.out.println? Okay, we are using this one a number of times, right? So people will ask you what is this system.out.println? Okay, now let me show you this one. Mm. Okay, so what is this system.out.println? We are using this one to print something to the console, right? So this can be a question. People may ask okay, what does it mean by system.out.println? Can you explain that one? Okay, now let us see. System, this is a class from java.lang package. So if you see this one, see, this is the system class. Okay, I have opened the system class. Okay, if you want to open anything, okay, see, I'm using this system dot out dot println, right? Put your cursor over here. Put your cursor over this system. Okay, and you can type control enter, or sorry, sorry, put your cursor over here and use control button. Okay, click control button and click on this one. Click on this one. Okay, then you will go into that particular class. Okay, do you understand this one? See, I am putting my cursor over here, and I am using control button, and I am clicking on this one. Okay, I'm clicking on this one. I'm going into this system class. Okay, so what is this one? System is a class from java.lang package. If you see this one, if you go up, see, the package is java.lang package. Okay, system is a class from java.lang package. Okay, used to interact with underlying operating system by the programmer. And within this one, out is a static object of print stream class defined in system class. Okay, this out is an object of which class? It is a print stream class. Okay, so if you go into this one, control F out. Okay, let me check this one. Okay, see this out, it is an object of this print stream class, and moreover this is static. So this out is a static object of this print stream class. Okay, out is a static object of this print stream class. Println is a method from the print stream. Okay, println is a method from the print stream. Now you have like three things here that you have to remember in this one. Okay, so system dot out dot println. Okay, so what is a system? System is a class from java dot lang package, right? Now out is an object, and moreover this is a static object of print stream class. Okay, since this object is a static object of this print stream class, I have created it within this system class, so I can access this out object using system.out, right? I can use the class name to create to access the static member. So I am accessing this one static.out. Again, this out is a print stream class object, so I can access all the methods of this print stream class using this object again. So system.out dot I can access. So I can access println method. So println method is a method from this print stream class which is used to print something to the console. Okay, do you understand this one? This question people may ask. Okay, so if somebody asks you, okay, what is system.out.println, you can say that, okay, system is a class from java.lang package. Out is an object of print stream class. Okay, but this object is a static object which is created within this system class. That is why I can access this object using system, using this class name system. So system.out I can access. Okay, now println is a method from this print stream class. Println is a method from the print stream class which is used to print something to the console. So I can access this println using this object out. Okay, so system.out.println method. Any questions on this one? Okay, fine. So just remember this one. Okay, what are filter streams? Okay, the only this one is like kind of like an important one. Okay, everything else is like I haven't seen like people asking any questions. Okay, what is a file class? It's a non-stream class used to know the properties of a file, like when it was created, or like basically we use like file stream to create an object for the file on the disk. Okay. Okay, so this is about file operations. Okay, any questions on these file operations so far? People won't ask like much questions on these file operations. Okay, you
So,
basically I
like
think
any type of
yeah,
file extension we can use here, like text or
anything.
XML.
Anything you can use, but when it comes to like excel operations, okay, we have first we'll use basically this file input stream or file reader or writer only, like to open that excel file. Once that is
Mm.
open, then we have a different classes for working with excels. So because excels
Oh,
are different from normal files. Similarly, but for pdf also we use initial things will be same, like we have to open that file, so we use either based on that, like that class object requirements, either we use file or file input stream or file reader, whatever it is, whatever it needs, we use that one. And they have their own operations, they have their own methods. Okay,
okay, okay.
yeah, any other questions?
Like, for example, suppose if you're having some of the files like in XML and some of them are in CSV.
Yeah,
So when we are doing those kind of things, so in the
okay.
both ways we can do, or it will take in a sim different ways.
If you okay, so XML or CSV files, basically they are text files only. Okay, basically they are text files only, but the extension is different. Okay, but if you see like an Excel or PDF, they are different kinds of files. Okay, so for any text file, you can use the, if you want to just read the content. Okay, so basically what is a CSV file? CSV is nothing but a comma separated file, right? So you will
Yes.
have something like, let us say, Subbu, comma, okay, Java, comma, Selenium, something is there like this. Okay, and when I save this one, instead of saving this one like .txt, I will save it in .csv format, right? So that is a comma separated values file .csv. Okay, now if I want to read, like, just like this entire text, I can read it, like, just with the example that I have told you. It will read everything, SUBBU, and then it will read comma, and then JAVA, and then it will read comma, and then this one. Okay, it will read everything and it will print it. So you can use the same thing to read just the contents. But there are, like, for CSV, I think, like, we have some library called Open CSV in Java, which you can use to read, like, just these values into different variables. We can do that one using Open CSV, but that is a different one. But if you just want to read the contents of the file, you can use, like, you can just do these file operations. Or, like, XML. XML is something that you will have, like, something like, let's say I have address. Okay, address is an XML tag. Okay, under address, let us say we have street. Okay, street, something like, okay, test street, close street. Okay, and let's say building name. Okay, let's say test building, close building name. Okay, if you want to get, like, the content of this, just like this, like, you want to read, like, less than symbol and then address and then greater than symbol, like this. Okay, you can use the same thing, the file input stream, or, like, file reader, and you can read the contents of this one. But there are, like, some XML specific libraries are there, like, which we use generally, like, just to read the content. Okay, there are, like, I think JSON package is there, and there are, like, some other libraries are there, which where we can provide, like, the path of this one. We can read this XML file, and then we can provide the path of this one, and we can get only these values, the XML values that we have here. Okay, but if you want to just read the contents of the file, whether when it is a normal text file, you can directly use this one. Okay, so any questions? Any other questions? Let me see, like, today, like, okay, because I have some work, I need to go a little bit early to office. Okay, so, but let me give you, like, something about the database testing as well. Okay, and tomorrow we'll finish this database testing. Okay, so, okay, did you guys, like, install this XAMPP?
Yes,
Yes,
Subbu.
I did.
Yes.
Okay, okay, fine. Now, after you install this XAMPP, okay, just go to this URL. Okay, have you opened this one, localhost slash php myadmin? Before that, like, you need to start the server. Okay, go to, like, so this is the server. This is the server I have already started. Go to, like, C drive XAMPP folder. Let me show you that one. Go to C drive, XAMPP server, XAMPP folder, and start this XAMPP underscore -control. Okay, this is the controller that we have. So if you start this one, then it will show you something like this, and you have to click on the start button for Apache server and click on this MySQL button for the Apache server. Sorry, MySQL server, for starting the MySQL server. Once you start this one, then you will see these ports. Okay, the Apache server starts on the default port 80, and MySQL server starts on the default port 3306. Okay, so start this one, then go to, like, in any browser and open this localhost slash php myadmin, and it will open the database. Okay, I have given you this path, I think, yesterday in the notes. Okay, okay, now you will see, like, some car rental is the one, like, that I have installed. and Subbu's Tech is the one that I have created this database. I think other databases you will see like information schema, MySQL, performance schema, PHP MyAdmin, all these things that you normally see. Okay, okay, fine. Now let me explain you a bit about this one. Okay, on the left hand side you will see like all the databases that you have created. Okay, and at the top you will see like some different options here like databases. Again it will show all the databases just like this on the left hand side, and SQL, this is the editor where you can run the SQL queries. Okay, and your status, okay, we don't need this one. User accounts are like we can add users to the database, so it shows like all these users, user accounts. And export, if you want to export any of this database into a notepad or anything or a SQL, all the SQL, all the data in the form of a SQL queries, you can use export button. And if you have the SQL queries, okay, in a .sql extension format, you can import that one. Okay, and it will be imported into the database. Okay, so these are the different settings and all these things we have. Okay, if we go into the database here, so this is the data, these are the different databases just like the ones that are showing on the left side. So and these are the ones that are showing here. Okay, okay, now just give me 1 second. Okay, now if you go into this SQL, okay, you can execute your SQL queries here. Do you guys have like any knowledge on the SQL queries, basic SQL queries? Okay, I'll show you like those basic SQL queries, but you need to have that minimum basic knowledge on the SQL queries. Okay, okay. Okay, now let's go into user accounts. Okay, so these are all the user names, user accounts that we have here. Okay, they are like what is the username, root. Root is the basic, the default one that is created initially. Okay, root is the one. Okay, and you can export like anything here. For example, if you click on this uh, and we need to first we need to go into a database and then better go into this export for exporting anything. Okay, now let's go into the databases and let us create a new database here. So if you see here, so I'm using like JDBC testing. Okay, it is there like in the document that I'm going to provide you. Okay, so if I go into Java database, okay, so yeah, I have explained it like again here. Okay, so after installing, okay, you can download and install MySQL from mysql.com, but it is a little bit complex. So instead of downloading MySQL Workbench, okay, you can download a local server with which MySQL comes. There are a few local servers you can use. XAMPP, WAMPP also you can install. Okay, but we have installed this XAMPP. Okay, for installing MySQL, you will download and install. Okay, note we have also used this when we do the project in Selenium. Yeah, so when we like finish Selenium, we will be doing a small project in Selenium. Okay, there also we'll be using this one. Okay, next one is, okay, go to Google and download this one. Once you download this one, these are like some old screenshot. Okay, but just go to, once you install this one, go to C drive XAMPP and start the control panel. Once you start the control panel, start this Apache server and MySQL server. Okay. Once you start this one, then go to this my localhost slash PHP myadmin. Okay. This is what like you will see. Okay. On the left hand side, you will see the different databases. So once you go into, okay, let me go into this individual. For example, car rental is the one like that I have installed. So I'll see like all the different tables under this one. I have admin, table booking, table brands, table contact us info. So these are all the different tables that we have. Okay, so once you click on the database, you will see the different tables associated with it. Okay, once you click on any table, you will see the data of the tables. Okay, let me see this. Let us see contact us, pages. Okay, table users, table vehicles. So if I click on this one, table vehicles, okay, it will show me all the data basically in the rows and columns format. Okay, these are the different rows I have, and these are the different column names I have: ID, vehicle title, vehicles brand. okay, vehicles overview, all these things. So this is all the data that I have in this one. Okay, now setting up a new username and password. Okay, so once you install this XAMPP, okay, the default by default, like you will get a username and password which have the admin privileges on the on your account. So the default username is root and there is no password for that one. Okay, once you install XAMPP, the default username and password for PHP MyAdmin are root and no password. You can use the above details for connecting to any database using JDBC. That means, test environment actually. Okay, that means whatever the XAMPP that you have installed, we can use this default username and default password to connect to any database. Okay, but we can also create some users and passwords under this one. Okay, so basically, like we can go to okay. Sorry, where is okay, let me go to the main one, PHP my admin, and go to the user accounts. Okay, so if you want to create, like you can create a new users also under this. Okay, so once you create go to the home page by clicking on the home button or PHP myadmin image on the top left side. Okay, we just did that. We just clicked on this PHP myadmin and we came to this first one. Okay, now click on user accounts and you should be able to see the usernames there. Okay, we came to this user accounts. Okay, we are seeing all the usernames. Okay, and click on add user account link. Okay, this is the one, add user account link. If you click on this one, okay, you can add new users, but we don't need that one. But if you want to, like do this, you can do this. Okay, just click on this add new user account and enter the username and password you like. Okay, so you can enter like Subbu123 and password is Subbu123. Once you create this one, select a host name here like localhost or something. Okay, select the host as localhost. Yeah, you have to select this one here, localhost. Otherwise, like it won't work. I think this is the problem like here I face. Under this one, once you create a user, you have to give permissions for that user. Okay, so it will take you to the permissions page, and basically there you have to give like all the select for retrieving the data, inserting permissions, update permissions, and all these things. Okay, and also for structure admission. Basically, just check all these things. Okay, once you check all these things, you will be giving permissions for that particular user, all the permissions for the new user. Okay, now the basic SQL knowledge. Okay, you need to have like this basic SQL knowledge for working with JDBC. Okay, these are the basic things that we use, like a select query, insert query, update query, remove, delete query, all these things that we use. Okay, so now let us create a new database first. Okay, JDBC testing, and we will insert a new table into that. Okay, new table called employees. Okay, I have given you the query here somewhere. Yeah, so this is the query for creating a new table under JDBC database. Okay, let me okay, so this is the query that we can run to create a database. Basically create a table, create table JDBC testing dot employees. That means under JDBC testing, we are creating a new table called employees. Okay, once we create this one, and we are creating some columns under ID column. This ID column, it is not null. Okay, that means it should not be null, and this is a primary key that we are using this one, and this has auto increment feature. Okay, that means we don't need to insert any values into this ID each time. It will automatically increment like 1 2 3 like that. And then we are creating another column which is first name. This first name is a string with 50 characters in length. Okay, in MySQL for strings we use varchar property. Okay, varchar of 50 means this is basically a string with a maximum of 50 characters. Similarly, last name, it is varchar of 50 characters in length. And age is an integer we are creating. So in SQL we will do it like with int and not null. Okay, it should not be null. Company varchar 50 not null. Salary int not null. Okay, and this is the default engine that we use. Don't worry about this one. Okay, so this is a create table query. Okay, let me go into this database. Okay, let me create a new database here, and that database name is JDBC testing. Okay, JDBC testing. Okay, let us create this one. Okay, database is created successfully. If you see here on the left hand side, you see JDBC testing. Let's go into this. Okay, so now we are in this database, but we don't have any tables. So let us go into this SQL tab where we run this SQL query. Okay, let me copy this one for creating a new table. So I'm copying this one. But again, like once you copy this one, make sure that in PHP when executing the above query, okay, use this back quotes. You have to use this back quotes, okay, instead of using single quotes. Okay, just remember this one when you are executing a query. If you see, so before this JDBC testing, okay, this particular character, it is a back quote. It is not a single quote. It is different. Back quote is different from single quote. Okay, so this is a single quote. Okay, this is different. We should not use single quotes, but we should use back quotes. Okay, where do we get the back quotes? Generally on your keyboard, before the number 1 on your keyboard, you will have this back quote key. Okay, just check that one. You will have this backquote key before the number 1 on your keyboard. Okay, you have to use this one. Okay, for any values, for ID we have this backquotes, first name, last name, we have all these backquotes for this one. Okay, so now I'm creating a table under JDBC testing database. That's why JDBC testing dot employees. I'm creating a table with the name employees with all this. Okay, let me run this one. Where is this run button? Yeah. Should have some, okay, go is there. Okay, so click on this go button. Okay, now it is MySQL returned an empty result set because we just created a table, right? So now if you see under JDBC testing, we have employees table. Under employees, we have ID, first name, last name, age, company, and salary. We haven't created any data yet. Okay, that's why it is showing an empty table. Okay, now we have created an empty database table in this one. Okay, now let us insert some data into this. Okay, so for inserting data, we have to use insert query. Okay, insert into this table under JDBC testing. So insert into JDBC testing dot employees. Okay, what we have to insert? We have to insert first name, last name, age, company, and salary. ID is not needed because ID is an auto increment. So it will automatically increment each time when we insert some data into this. Okay, so now I have this query. Employees and into which columns I have to insert? I have to insert into first name, last name, age, company, salary, and values. This James Smith 35. It is an integer because age is an integer, and company and salary is an integer. Okay, let me run this query. Just take these ones and run these queries. Okay, so if we go into this one and SQL query. Okay, so now okay, so I'm inserting some data into employees table under JDBC testing, and the columns are first name, last name, age, company, and salary, and the values are James Smith 35, IBM. Okay, some salary. Okay, let me run this one. Click on this go button. Okay, so one row inserted. Okay, if I go into this employees, now it shows me okay, see their data here. Okay, first name is James, last name is Smith, age is 35, company is IBM, and salary is this one. Let me go into this SQL again. Okay, and let me run the second query. I'm inserting a second query. So if you okay, let me okay, now I'm inserting a second data. Michael Smith 35. Let me make this one as 40. Okay, Michael Smith 40 Honda, some salary. I'm inserting this one. Okay, let me run this one. Click on go button. Okay, one row inserted. So if I go into employees table now, so I have Michael Smith 40 Honda 1,80,000. What is the time? Okay, 716. Oh, fine. Okay, so this is the data that we have inserted into the database table. This is the insert query that we have used. So you need to be familiarized, like, with those basic SQL queries. Okay, now, okay, we are done with inserting data into the database. Now, let us say I want to see the data that is there. I want to fetch the data, retrieve the data from this table. So for that one, we'll use select query. Okay. So, okay, yeah, this one is already there. Let me remove this one. Okay. Select star from employees. Okay. That means I'm selecting the data. Star means I'm selecting all the data from the employees table. Okay. Now, if I run this one, okay, see, it is basically showing 0 to 1, two total rows. It took like this much time for fetching the data. So we can use select query. Okay, select star from employees. Okay, now I have selected all these rows, but I just want to select only one row where the ID is 2. Okay, then in the SQL query, I can use this where condition and ID equals to 2. That means get the data from employees table where the ID is 2. Now it will return me only one row. Okay, if I run this one, go. Now if you see, it is returning me only one row which has this ID 2. Okay, so that is about select query. For retrieving the data from database, we will use select query. Select star from employees. Select star from employees, and then with where condition, where ID is equal to 1, ID is equal to 2, like that. Okay, so that is about select query. Now updating the data. Okay, we can use this update statement. Okay, and we use the table name is employees. Okay, update employees, and what we would like to update, we would like to update the first name. Okay, for example, in this one, the first name is, like, for the first one, the first name is James. Okay, I want to update this from James to something, James to something, James to Robert or something. Okay, so update employees, set first name is equal to Robert. So that means I am updating the first name to Robert where ID is equal to 1. Okay, now the query will be update employees, set first name is equal to Robert where ID is equal to 1. Okay, so this is the update statement we have to use. Okay, so now it is James. So I'm going into this SQL query. Okay, I'm using update employees, set first name is equal to Robert where ID is equal to 1. That means this will be updated. The first name for the first record will be updated to Robert. If you don't use this where condition, okay, all the columns, all the rows where the first name is, all the rows will be updated with first name as Robert. So while using the update query, you have to be very careful and you have to use this condition correctly. Okay, for updating and for deleting any data, you have to be very careful. Generally, like, when you are given access to the database, normally you won't be given any update access or delete access. Okay, okay, so you have to be very careful with this one. Okay, you have to use where condition. If you have like update access or delete access, make sure that, like, you use this where condition, otherwise the entire database table will be affected. Okay, now let me run this one. Okay, so now one row is affected. Let me go into this one. Okay, now it is changed from Robert James to Smith. Okay, let me use this update one again. Okay, without the where condition. Okay, we'll see what happens. Now we have Robert and Michael here. Okay, so if I use this one now, let me use this one. If I don't use, like, this where condition, I'm uh, changing into something like Williams. Okay, Williams. Okay, and if I run this one, let us see what happens. Do you really want to execute first name local? Yes, I would like to execute this one. Okay, if I use this one, see, two rows are affected. That means all the rows in my table are affected. Okay, so all the first names are changed. So while using this update condition, look, you have to use this ID. Okay, not ID. I mean, you have to use the where condition. Okay, that is about update. Now, deleting data from table. Okay, if you want to remove like one particular row, okay, we can use like delete from employees, and you have to use again this condition. Okay, so let me copy this one. Okay, let me go into this SQL. Okay, so I am deleting from the employees table where the row, which row it is, where ID is equal to 1. Okay, even for delete query also make sure that you are using this where condition. Otherwise, all the records in your database table will be deleted basically. Okay, if you don't use this where condition, that's why generally like when you are actually working in a company, you won't be given access to the when you are given access to the database, you won't be given this update or delete permissions generally. Okay, but if you are given, just make sure that you are using this where condition, because this is the one situation that we face like when we are working in a company like it was like we were given all these permissions on the test environment. Of course, it's a test environment. It's not like a real production environment. So we were given, we are like one of the resources when she was working on that, like she just used just this delete query without any conditions. The entire table was deleted, but it is test environment only. It was okay, but again a lot of teams were using the same test environment, which caused a problem for all those teams. Okay, it will like even though sometimes like it may not be a real problem because it's only test environment, but people like will make it as a problem. Okay, so just be careful when you are using this one. Okay, now I
So
am,
is there not any way to recover it?
I'm sorry.
Is there any way to recover it after deleting?
I mean, yeah, there will be generally database administrators will be there. Like, they will do those recoveries, or they may copy some new data from production again to the test environment. So they will do that one.
Okay.
Okay, but like once we delete and like sometimes there will be still a way like if it is not committed, I mean we can do that one, but that's not like our scope actually. Okay, but
Okay.
generally database administrators they will do that one.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so let us run this query. Okay, let me go uh, run this query. So one row is affected. That means one row is deleted. Okay, so if we go into this one, so the first row is deleted. We are left with only the second row. Okay, so practice all these queries. Okay, these are the basic queries that you first one is inserting data into a database table. Okay, and then retrieving the data, select query, and then updating the data, update query, and deleting the data, delete query. Okay, these are the four minimum basic SQL queries that you have to know. Oh, okay, so install XAMPP, start the XAMPP server. Okay, go into the PHP myadmin page and open that one and create a new database, create a table under that one and practice these queries. Okay, any questions so far?
How we will be doing testing in this thing? Like we will be after creating and all.
I'm
What is
sorry?
database testing and not getting it as because we have to create this table.
No,
So
no, no,
like
no. This is only for the practice purpose. I'm telling you that, okay, you have to create a database table yourself. Okay,
okay.
but generally like in the company, let's say you are working on an application where you are using that application, you are posting some data to the database, and you have to make sure that the data is correctly inserting into the columns in the database. So how do you do that?
So basically database testing is done on the database only. We will not be checking it from front end to database, right?
No, from how do you post the data to the database? You won't directly insert the data in the database, right?
Okay, from front end only we will be doing, right?
Yes, yeah. You'll have some application on the front end. For example, a new user registration is there. Something
Okay.
new user. So you enter all the data on the web page, all the new user, first name, last name, data, but all those things on the first on the application. And when you click on like submit, where the data will be stored, It will be stored in
On the
some
particular
table.
table.
Yeah, in some
Yeah.
table in the database. But
Yeah.
let us say you have to make sure that whatever the data that you are posting from the front end is storing correctly in the database. You are not losing like any values. So how do you do that one? You'll post some data in the front end.
Sorry.
You'll have that
Yeah.
data, and you'll go into the database and you'll use some SQL query, select query, okay,
Hmm.
and you get the data and you'll compare these two.
Yeah.
Understand? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. The same
So
thing.
actually,
The same thing we can do it with Selenium. Okay. If
okay.
you want to do it with Selenium, you have to know how to fetch the data from the database using Java.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
this thing only I was asking.
yeah,
Yeah.
for practice purpose, what I'm saying is just create your own table and practice like all the SQL queries, because if you want to fetch the data, you'll use a select query. So you have to know like
Yeah.
what is. So that is why I'm just saying that, okay, practice that one, practice this SQL queries. Then we'll see like how to use Java database connectivity JDBC to connect to the MySQL server and fetch this data. We'll use like, this same queries there also. Okay, but
Oh,
the only thing
okay.
is you have to know how to connect to the database using JDBC, and then we'll use these queries to fetch the data.
Okay.
Okay, so any other
Okay.
questions?
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Okay, so it's 7:30. I'm closing this one because like I have to go a little bit early today. Okay, so tomorrow we'll see like this how to connect to the database using this JDBC and how to fetch the values from there. Okay, and then we'll be left with these ones which are like arrays. Okay, the main concepts are will be completed like until this point. Java database functionality we have completed like all these main things like super this keyword strings arrays collections frameworks and exception handling we have completed, file operations we have completed, and database connectivity will be done. There are like some other extra things. For example, we have to see into like an arrays class, and then collections class is there that was created to work with the collections framework. Okay, collection framework. Okay, all these things we'll see simultaneously with the Selenium. Okay, so tomorrow mostly I will start like Selenium. Okay, after finishing this database connectivity. Okay, and simultaneously we will see this other things also in Java. Okay, any questions from anyone? Okay, fine. Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, then we'll meet tomorrow. Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
for this.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Bye bye.
You, Subbu.
Bye.